Hi friends, welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite types of plants. This is probably a lot of people's favorite plant genus. Chances are if you've been in the houseplant community for a little bit, then you probably have heard of these plants. So we're going to be talking about Hoya. So up in front of me here I have a majority of the Hoya I have. So I'm gonna go through and show you guys all the different Hoyas that I have and talk a little bit about them. But first I wanted to give you guys some kind of general care tips for Hoyas. Okay, the first thing we're gonna discuss is watering. So Hoya are tropical plants, which means that they tend to like a decent amount of water. Now, I find that a lot of people tend to overwater their Hoyas just because they think that, since they're tropical, they don't ever want to dry out. And I find that that's really not the case. With Hoya, you can pretty much let them dry out completely in between waterings, but you don't want to let them go, like you don't want to let them be completely dry for too long. So a good indicator for if your Hoya needs water or if the leaves are wrinkly. So I don't think I have any examples to show you of that, but typically I'll wait to water mine until I notice that the leaves are a little wrinkled, or if you can kind of squeeze it, and if it is really easy to like bend, then you know that it could use some water. So I'll show you an example for this Hoya, my macrophylla. With this one, if I squeeze this leaf, there's not really a lot of give to it. Like, it's pretty sturdy. So I know that that means that it's pretty full of water, so I wouldn't have to water it now. I think I just watered this yesterday, so that would make sense. Let me see. I just watered this one, but it hasn't had enough time to like soak into the plant fully. So I'll show you this leaf. This is my crimson princess, and with this one I can just bend this leaf like super easily. It's very flimsy, very droopy, very easy to move. Same with this one over here. Same with these, they're very easy to bend, so that's how I knew that this one needed watered. I'd say with my Hoya, I typically water them once or twice a week, just depending on, one, it being the growing season, so I have to water them a little bit more in the growing season, and also just the size of the plant. So like this one dries out a bit quicker than this one over here, just because there's more soil to hold in the moisture. So I don't water them on an exact schedule. I just water them when I start to notice that the soil is completely dry, or that the leaves are bendable, or that they're wrinkled. If you have any kind of hesitation on when you should water your Hoya, I would suggest using a moisture meter. That's what I use with this one and this one a lot, just because like this Hoya crinkle is already like, it's a Hoya crinkle, so the leaves don't really wrinkle up that much since they already have some like wrinkles in them. So I'll use a moisture meter for this one sometimes, and I'll typically water it once it's at like a 2 on the moisture meter. But with this one, sometimes I can just pick it up and feel how light it is, and that's how I would know to water it. Okay, the next thing on the list is to talk about lighting. So again, Hoya are tropical plants, so they're used to that bright indirect light. Now, I would not recommend putting these in low light. I think they could probably tolerate it, but they just won't look very happy. So I keep mine in pretty bright light. You can even give them some like really good direct sunlight if you wanted to, and that can cause some like sun stressing. So again, with this Hoya, I'll show you, like, get a little closer. This one is a little bit sun stressed around the edges. You can see how it has that like purple on the side. That's from some sun stressing. And I keep this one right in a like, an east facing window. So it gets some pretty good direct sunlight, and it's really happy with it. None of my other Hoya are sun stressed. I don't know if any of these three sun stress very well. Some Hoya, like the classic Hoya Sunrise, is just a beautiful plant. I would love to have it one day, and it sun stresses really well. So if you want a Hoya that specifically you can sun stress, I would recommend that one. I'm drinking a smoothie right now. I'm trying to get into smoothies. I got this cup from Goodwill, and it's a little cactus like mason jar cup, and it's just so cute. I wanted to share it with you guys. As far as humidity goes, Hoyas aren't, at least the Hoya varieties that I have, like the easier varieties, they don't really care. They're not too picky about humidity. They obviously would do better with more humidity, but I have all of these in just like regular household humidity. I think my house stays around like 50% humidity in the summertime anyway, and they are pretty happy with it. They're growing really well. I will say that like with my Hoya carnosa, my variegated Hoya carnosa compacta, that's a mouthful. It did not grow for me at all for like the whole year that I had it in room humidity, and then I moved it into my terrarium that I'll show you guys here in a minute, and now it's finally pushing out some new growth. So maybe if your Hoyas aren't growing for you during the growing season, one, make sure that you're watering them the correct amount, and two, maybe increase the humidity a little bit. Okay, when it comes to fertilizing my Hoya, I tend to keep, with all my houseplants, I tend to try to keep it pretty natural. So I just use Super Thrive. I'll show you this. This is what it looks like. I just get it from Lowe's, and you just mix it in with the water before you water your plants, and they seem to really like it. With this, what I like about it is that I can still use it in the winter when they're not growing, and it's not gonna like burn their roots or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about that with these. I don't use any kind of like, I also sometimes will use like coffee grounds. Since we have a lot of coffee grounds, I'll mix that in with my soil mix, and they seem to like that as well. Another thing that I use is this orchid spray that I also just get from like Lowe's or Walmart, and obviously it says it's meant for orchids, but orchids like Hoya are epiphytes, meaning that they can take in nutrients from their leaves. So this is just like a leaf spray, and I only use this one in the summer. I think it's just a plant food, so I'm sure it'd probably be fine to use in the winter, but I'm just gonna stick with using it in the summer just because I don't know what all is in it, and I don't want to risk over fertilizing. So I just use this like, I use it like probably once a month, but I'd like to get into using it like every couple of weeks. Even every week I think would be fine. Again, during the growing season, I just tend to be a little forgetful with this. But they really like it. The only thing that I would recommend is that you use this at night. Like you spray it on the leaves as like the sun's going down. That way it has time to like soak into the leaves overnight, and then when the sun comes back up and it's like hitting the leaves, you're not risking like the leaves getting burnt from this being on it, because it can kind of like amplify the sun. I don't know if that makes sense. It can cause some leaf burn if you spray this on like in the middle of a really bright sunny day. I hope that makes sense. Another thing I really recommend for your Hoya, and it's not actually something that I'm doing currently, but I would like to at some point soon, is get some trellises for your Hoya. Hoya love to have something to climb on. With my Hoya splash over here, I have it in a hanging pot, and it's like climbing up and around like the macrame and like the hook and like the other plants. So it's just, they're always looking for something to like grasp on, and that can also increase the growth if they have something that they can hold on to. They really enjoy that. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. There are people outside. But that is something that I really recommend for helping your Hoya grow quicker and more mature looking leaves. One thing to be careful of is not like wrapping them around anything, one, too tight, but also while new leaves are like hardening off, you want to be really careful with being really gentle with the leaves, because Hoya leaves, when they're first like emerging, they're very tiny. So like there's this little tiny one right here. I don't know if you can see that. As opposed to like these down here. So they're very fragile and they're very easy to break off or damage. So if you're gonna be moving it anywhere or wrapping it around anything, just make sure you're careful with the new leaves. As far as propagating Hoya goes, they propagate really easy for me. All you need to do is find all you need to do is just find a node on the stem, and let me show you guys a little closer. So all you need to do is find a node on the stem, so like right where this leaf is, and like down here there's a node, and just cut below the node and stick it in either some soil or water or sphagnum moss, and it should root up pretty quick. Even perlite works pretty well. I've had the best luck with rooting Hoya in sphagnum moss, which I'll show you guys my propagation bin here in a minute. Okay, so in here I have a few Hoya cuttings. I just took this one like a couple days ago, I think, and I'll kind of show you. I just cut right at the node, right below the node, and I left the leaf on, and then I'm just sticking it into the sphagnum moss for it to root. I've propagated quite a few Hoya this way. I also have some propagating in soil. They also propagate well in soil. So I have this one right here, and this is its newest leaf. This is a cutting from my Hoya Splash. What else do I have? I have this one that's pretty well rooted. They do take a little bit, I find, to root up, but the higher the humidity you can give them while they're trying to push out roots, the better. So I have another one right beside it. So yeah, they're pretty easy to propagate. Okay, so this one again is my Hoya Crimson Princess, and this one just lives in my kitchen on the windowsill. It gets some good indirect sunlight there. Here are some of the newer leaves. I really like the variegation on these ones. And then it has another new little leaf coming in right here. The Hoya, the Crimson Princess has the inner variegation, and the Crimson Queen has the outer variegation. I'd really like to get the Crimson Queen at some point, but this one is really pretty. I hope to take some cuttings of it soon and fill out the pot a little bit. This one here is my Hoya Crinkle. I want to say it's a Crinkle 8. I think that's what it's called. But it's also just known as the Hoya Crinkle. I've had this plant for probably a year now, and it's grown really well for me. It didn't grow, like these don't grow very much during the winter. So I was a little like, I don't know, I wasn't loving this plant for a bit just because it wasn't growing. But now that it's summertime, it's pushed out a whole lot of new growth. And as you saw earlier, I'd taken some cuttings of it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this plant right now. So I noticed with this Hoya, and I can't really show you it right now because none of the leaves really have it. But a lot of the leaves, when they come out, they have this like purple tint to them, which is really cool. Like you can see this one, this new leaf that's just starting to emerge. It's like purple, really dark burgundy, and it'll keep that for a little bit while the leaf is expanding, but I think it does lose it after a little bit of like hardening off, which I think is fine. It's very shiny. It's like a waxy texture, which I really like. And so yeah, just an overall really cool Hoya. Okay, next, you guys already heard me talk about this one. This is my Hoya macrophylla. This plant is one of my favorites. It's so pretty with this new leaf that it has. And now we even have some new growth coming in here, which makes me super excited. This is the only leaf it's had come out in my care. And I bought this towards like the end of winter, so it would make sense that it wasn't growing for a little bit because it had to like adjust to being in my home. But now it's finally growing and I'm really happy with it. I also want to take some cuttings of this one once it gets a little bit bigger because I just love the idea of having like a whole full like trailing basket of Hoya macrophylla. I just love how these leaves look. They sun stress really well. They have that little bit of like splashiness on it. And you can see the red sides on it even better up close. So yeah, this plant is just really cool. Even the back side looks really cool. This Hoya over here is my Hoya carnosa compacta. I got this as just a small little cutting from my friend Janelle a few months ago probably, and I just have it in this little pot. It's in my living room. It's starting to push out some new growth. It wasn't doing very well over the winter because I kept forgetting to water it, so it was drying out like way too much. But now I'm doing better at watering it, and it seems really happy. Speaking of Hoya carnosa compacta, let me get in here and show you guys my variegated one. So this is my variegated carnosa. It's really hard to show this plant just because it is such a slow grower. If you're considering getting the variegated Hoya carnosa, I would recommend it, but I would also be aware of the fact that it grows really slow. So this is the only new leaf. It's distracted by the... This is the only new leaf it's gotten since I've had it, and I've had it for about a year now. So it's a really pretty plant, and I really enjoy having it in my terrarium, but I wouldn't recommend it for someone who wants like a more fast-growing Hoya, especially if you're going to keep it in room humidity, because I just don't think it'll grow very quick in household conditions. Completely off topic, my jewel orchid is about to bloom, and I'm really happy about it. It also has another new plant coming off down here, which is really exciting. So yeah, I wanted to share that real quick. Very excited about this. Okay, the next Hoya I wanted to share with you guys, and this one's become a favorite recently too, just because it's been growing so much. I don't actually know the exact species of this Hoya, so if you guys know, please like comment and let me know what species it is, because I really enjoy this plant. This is a new vine that it just pushed out, and just look at how pretty that is. It's like a little speckly. It's got some cool like veining to it that I really like. Here are some of the older leaves, and they even they're much bigger, which I'm really excited to see this plant see the leaves get bigger as it grows. Here's some more of the newer leaves. And this is one of those Hoyas that I would definitely recommend getting a trellis for. I really should, but I honestly kind of like how it looks like trailing. But as you can see by how it's it bends upwards trying to find something to grab onto. So it would grow better if I put it on a trellis, and the leaves would probably get bigger, but I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet or not, just because I do like how it looks right now. Okay, and then I specifically saved this one for last because it is my all-time favorite Hoya that I own. This is my Hoya Carnosa Splash. I had this one for probably a couple years now. I just bought it, I think from like Lowe's or something, and it's just been putting out so much new growth. So this is one of its newer leaves right here. This is another really new one. It has a very nice like shiny coat to it that I really like. The leaves have also been getting like really big up towards the front. So here's this one, and like this one just has so much splashiness to it. And I just think it's really cool. This is, here's one of the newer leaves. You can see it's super tiny and it'll grow and expand and get size like the rest of them. But this one has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 really long vines coming off of it. I think this one is almost down to the floor from where it's at. It has some new growth here. So yeah, this one is really liking the spot it's in right now. I just have it hanging right up here with all my other hanging plants. I don't know if this one sun stresses or not, but I'm pretty happy with how it looks right now. It's just been a really easygoing plant for me. So I'm really excited to see this one grow, and I have some cuttings of it that I'm also really excited about, just because I want like multiple of this plant. So especially if you're a beginner, or even if you're not a beginner with houseplants, this Hoya is just amazing. And I would highly recommend it to anybody who has an interest in Hoyas. Guys, I just realized I almost forgot about my beautiful Hoya Curtisii. I don't know how I could have forgot about this plant. It's so pretty. Look at the detail on those leaves. It's such a beautiful plant. This is one of my newer Hoya. So it's not very big. I just got it from a local plant shop in Bloomington. This is some of its newer growth over here. Really cute new growth. And this plant is super easy as well. I care for it the same way I care for all my other Hoya. And yeah, it's a really cool plant. I can't believe I almost forgot about this one. Alright friends, that's all for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something about Hoya. If you have any care tips that I forgot to mention, please leave them below so that I can see them and everyone else can see them. I'm by no means an expert on Hoya. There are so many more varieties that I want to try. But I hope that you guys still learned something and you enjoyed my little plant collection. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!